Good day. The Watchmaker Theory. The Watchmaker Theory is an argument that's put often and sometimes furiously by religious, I'm going to call them simpletons, I don't think that's being too cruel, by religious simpletons who have not properly thought it through. Or if they have, or if they've been told the truth, they've just ignored it. It was first postulated by a Christian pastor, who else, in 1802, that's 120 years ago, who pointed to pocket watches, which at the time were a wonder of the world. These tiny little things that could fit in your pocket with all the little cogs and wheels. They were incredibly intricate. The creationists said that no human being could have done that on their own. They would have to have had divine assistance. If those magnificent things had a designer or a maker, then obviously, they said, the universe, which is more complex than anything else, must have had a designer or a maker. Do you see where the term intelligent design had its origins in all of this? Unthinking religiosi are still using that argument today, replacing the old-fashioned clockwork watch with more up-to-date items. Here's an example. Watch this. I hang out on a Facebook page called Australian Atheist Republic. And although it's for atheists, other religions do sometimes intrude with their own arguments. Here is one such. This is from a religious person. Muhammad Tildi, who in this case is Muslim, but we get the same kind of crap from other religions as well. He says, what would you say to someone who uses a mobile phone and denies the existence of its maker? Wouldn't it be silly to try to prove that there have been engineers, designers, factory workers behind that phone? To me, our existence and that of all other creatures is a proof of his existence, capitalized his. He's talking about Allah, God, Yahweh, whatever this supernatural being may be. He goes on, can a ship sail without navigation equipment and still arrive and leave at an exact time? Who makes the sun rise at exactly the same time every minute, every year? When I see all those scientific reports and documentaries about how the animal world functions and how they are endowed with super high technology, I wonder who made all that? If there is no God, oh, you made a mistake there, Muhammad, you didn't capitalize the G in God. If there is no God, then who created us? Who created the universe with billions and billions of galaxies? Was that by chance? An administrator of the site of Australian Atheist Republic, DL, who is David Linwood, replies that this is simply the clockmaker theory and has been debunked completely. Nobody created us. We are a product of evolution, by chance. That's the difference. You want there to be a reason that we are here? There is not. When you die, that's it. The Watchmaker Theory is scientifically flawed. But for creationists, it provides some reason for their beliefs. And in the face of increasing scientific proofs of evolution and the complex working of such things as the universe, rather than trying to maintain that there is no evolution or that the universe is not expanding, which is what they used to do, and they're finding it harder and harder for people to believe that, now they're saying that the credit for these marvels, including evolution, must be given to this supernatural being. The concept of an expanding universe, and indeed of cameras, were not around when the holy books were written. But creationists argue that God knew all about these things. Indeed, he invented them, or invented the human brain that invented them. And so it'll go on with each new invention, each new advance by mankind. Those creationists, they're going to pop up their heads and they're going to say, God did that! Idiots. Their theory has been debunked time and time again since 1802, when it first hit the light of day. Since that time, succeeding generations of non-thinking theists have found it easier to credit God with things than to actually think about where the things came from. Any things at all. How did they come into being? God did it all? Come on. So now, perhaps for the 10,000th time since 1802, here's why the theory is an inaccurate mess of flawed logic and sometimes downright lies. You can actually talk to a watchmaker, and by talk I don't mean going down on your knees and talking to an imaginary friend. Oh, friend up there in the sky, how was this watch made? You did it, I knew it, of course. Hallelujah! You can ask the watchmaker how it's done, and he will be able to assemble a watch in front of your eyes and explain what he's doing. Can God do that? Is he that good? Has anyone seen two watches humping in the bushes? There's some bushes here. No, there's no watches humping away there. Without DNA and reproduction, I mean sex, there is no evolution occurring. The difference between a watch, a painting, a building, and naturally occurring things like the human brain or a dinosaur or a bird is that humans designed the former and evolution created the latter. No designing in evolution. Sorry, not even intelligent design, Christians. A watch has about as much in common with a naturally occurring thing as a block of cement. Another way to show the fallacy of this watchmaker theory is to look at the sheer circular logic of it. Proponents of the theory say the universe was designed. Therefore it had a designer, and that designer could only be God. Who says the universe was designed? Who says the universe was designed? Why, the creationists do. Surprise, surprise. Do you see the flaw there? The argument relies on its own proposition that the central point, that's the design, is an accepted fact, and that everyone will accept that. I don't. In fact, it's not accepted by anyone, except for some religious people who have not put much thought into it. The universe was not designed. Let's get that straight. It was not designed. It's in existence purely through natural phenomena. The watchmaker's brain was not designed. It came about via natural evolution. If you're ever confronted by one of these fools telling you that God created everything, ask him who created God and who created God's creator, and so on. That'll shut them up for a while. because they do so little actual thinking that thinking about your question will not be coming naturally to them, believe it. Most religious people who think become atheists. To say that everything was created by a God is a cop-out. It's banal. The real truth of the matter, that DNA and the processes of evolution, assisted by countless generations of species living and dying, that's dying, by the way, as in finished, end of, none of this afterlife in a heaven or a hell. This story of evolution is more breathtaking and more beautiful in its realism, more believable in its science, than anything a non-thinking theist can argue by using "God did it all" and then launching into the latest version of the Watchmaker Theory. And those magnificent watches the watchmaker made in 1802 and thereabouts are not immortal. Try hitting one with a hammer. God save us.